All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and more drama. So it's more drama in the old geezer rock world and doing it in real time for a few people out here just like you and just like me. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for watching these videos and supporting the channel. Now, the other day, JD Souther passed away, and I was thinking about this guy because Jack Temption is right there with JD as far as being a quality songwriter, an artist in his own right. This album came out earlier this year. It's called More or Less. While these people are still here, folks, support what's left of it. All right. And this may not be your cup of tea. Jack has a unique voice, and you may or may not appreciate it. I do, because his songwriting is so brilliant that I'm not looking for Pavarotti. I'm looking for a guy who can sing his own songs, and he does a great job. Jeff Larson does production on this, and it's superb. So, at least in my humble opinion, right? So you may not like it, but it makes sense to promote a great songwriter like Jack Temption while he's still here. Worked with Glenn Frey, was Glenn's right-hand man writing song. You go back and look at like Glenn's first solo album, and Jack's right there for a good part of it and continues to hang with Glenn throughout his career. So anyway, the drama, the new drama. It's not Journey, it's REO Speedwagon again, as the way REO is ending is pathetic. And this comes from Gary Richrath's son, Eric, who decided to post some things on X through Mitch LaFon, who is a pretty decent journalist in his own right. Anyway, this is what Eric Richrath had to say. This is such a petty, pathetic way to go out. The fans deserve to have a proper run of farewell shows. Bruce deserved to have a proper run of farewell shows with the band. Perhaps Alan and Neil would have liked to have the opportunity to pop back in to send the band off that they founded. That's Alan Kratzer and Neil Doughty. Eric continued, it could have ended in a way that they all could have been really proud of. Instead, it's going to end like this. A lead singer with a God complex has decreed, yes, I said that correctly here, has decreed that his opinion is the consensus opinion, and that's it. He's basically taking his ball and going home. And of course, we're talking about Kevin Cronin. And the headline is that Eric blames Cronin for issues with REO Speedwagon, as do most of the fans. Everybody rallied around this guy when he was really the last man standing, and technically he's not an original member, in case people didn't know that. That's why I'm still hopeful that they'll piece together an old REO. Now, without Gary Richrath being present, you need somebody to represent Gary. And I'm sure there are people who knew Gary, who play guitar maybe, and who would like to be a part of that. That's my guess. And then Terry Luttrell, he's still around. I don't know if these guys can still sing or if they'd want to be a part of it. I don't know if Alan Kratzer would want to be a part of it, or Neil Doughty coming back to play keyboards. But even if they did a real short little ending tour, I think the fans would really like that. I just, that's my hunch. And there are a lot of old time fans that never really warmed up to Kevin Cronin. I hear from them all the time. I heard from them 10 years ago. Well, I like the old REO with Mike Murphy and Terry Luttrell. I was like, really? I'm like, I had to look those guys up because I didn't know their names as singers. I knew about Mike Murphy singing Riding the Storm Out, but their old stuff, which I ended up purchasing the first two albums on one CD, it's a completely different sound. It's a completely different band. I mean, you could go listen to like, I don't know, what was popular like in the early 70s that was very muscular. Like you could go listen to Derek and the Dominoes and then put on REO Speedwagon from the early 70s. And side by side. You know what I mean? They would be in the same category musically. And it was almost like a blues rock band. It was completely different. And Gary in those days was just so off the hook doing what he really wanted to do with that band. And you had a progressive bass player as well. Um, Philbin, I can't remember his first name. He just passed away a couple of years ago. I think it's Greg Philbin. Great bass player. Kevin apparently didn't like his style. But Bruce Hall has been a great bass player who replaced Philbin. And, it apparently Kevin is about Kevin. And this is what Eric continues to say here. He says, can't wait to see the announcement of his new musical endeavor, the Kevin Cronin Experience, featuring Kevin Cronin, all Kevin, all the time, embarking on the Just Kevin Tour in 2025. He says it didn't have to end this way. So there's no love lost there between the Richrath family and the Cronin family. A lot of people have insinuated, and I don't know. I'd have to talk to Eric. If somebody wants to reach out to Eric, I'd love to talk to him about his dad. But that Gary's breakdown, like his substance abuse and his depression and all that stuff, was triggered by the fact that REO was moving in a musical direction that he didn't appreciate. And I know we all cope in different ways. You're surrounded with all of those things as a rock star. And my guess is that that probably contributed to Gary's early passing and the struggles that he had after he left REO Speedwagon. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, these two guys, I think, didn't have a lot in common. Cronin came from this sort of laid-back, folky ballad background, and then Richrath was like jamming. He was like playing the blues, playing hard rock, and had these incredible guitar solos. I mean, go back and listen to some of Gary's guitar work. Any of his early works with REO, and even later on when they became super popular on High Infidelity. And every so often you'd hear a flash of brilliance again from Gary. I think they were really trying to subdue him during the 80s because everything changed sonically. And so they didn't want too much of a guitar solo. They didn't want him to go off on too many tangents, which, again, if you appreciate this style of music, that's what people in the early days really wanted. But, REO became more of a pop top 40 band. And then they kept shooting for that. In the late 80s, they put out a lot of stuff that would chart for a few weeks and then it would fall off the charts and didn't have any lasting impact as far as their catalog goes. A lot of those songs, they don't really perform live, in their, recently when they were still performing. It would be cool to hear the old REO. It really would. I don't think it's going to happen because, again, you don't have Gary and you probably don't have a singer. It would be cool if one of these guys from the past would step up and then maybe they get something together. Maybe they call it something else if they can't use the name. That might be a little, self-defeating, but my guess is there are fans that would really appreciate that. So we'll keep you up to date on that. But Eric Richrath just levels Kevin Cronin in a scathing critique, and I think it's deserved. I think it is. All right. Before I check out of this dramatic video, Jack Temption, we lost J.D. Souther the other day. Jack is right up there with J.D. Great songwriter. Decent vocalist. You're going to have to kind of judge for yourself. You may not like the way he sings. I appreciate it because there's a lot of authenticity in his voice, and these are his songs, and he writes extraordinarily well. One of the best songwriters of this, I don't know how many, last 50 years or so, one of the best, Jack Temption, all over the radio, whether it's the Eagles or Glenn Frey or someone else, Johnny Rivers, Slow Dancing, that was Jack Temption. So Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. God bless America. God bless the world. Pray for this country. Pray for this upcoming election. Just what is going on? Every day I hear some crazy stuff, conspiracy stuff, or stuff that's just, please pray for President Trump that he doesn't get shot at again, right? Even if you don't like Trump, don't wish bad things. Don't be like that guy who said it's too bad they missed. Please. I don't want them to shoot anybody, Democrat or Republican. No shots. Okay. All right. God bless. And we'll see you soon.